So what is the chemical theory? Here I am going to tell you about evolution. When we consider the evolution, means we have two stages. Simply we can say two stages. First stage is called chemogeny. Right? Chemogeny. Chemo means chemical formation of chemicals. Right? It is called chemical evolution, or we can say chemical evolution. What happens in chemical evolution? First, we know it is our atomic stage. Atomic stage means what happened at this stage. At this stage, the Earth is only a gas. It is a gas, right? So gas means what? All the substance which is present, it is formed in the form of atom form. Means here carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, they are present in atomic stage. Right? First thing is atomic stage. Then what happens? Look here, hydrogen is maximum. Here, H2 is maximum in atmosphere. So H2 is maximum. H2 means H. Now it binds with carbon, it binds with nitrogen, and it binds with oxygen. So hence, when this hydrogen binds with oxygen, then it forms H2O. Right? Second, hydrogen, when it binds with carbon, it forms, when it binds with nitrogen, simply I first write nitrogen, because here inorganic substances are formed. Nitrogen, then it forms ammonia. Right? That means ammonia and waters are formed. Here you understand, ammonia and water are formed. You understand? That means what we can say, this water and ammonia, they are the first inorganic. They are first inorganic compounds on Earth. Then what happens? This hydrogen, when the same hydrogen bind with whom? Carbon. Then what happens? CH4 is formed. CH4, it is considered as the first organic substance on Earth. Right? First organic substance means methane. First inorganic substance means water and ammonia. Okay. Now what happens? As the Earth cools down, because temperature is now decreased. So when the temperature is decreased, Earth cool down, then what happens? This water molecule, it fell down. Means it fell down. So fell down means what happens then? Rain comes. So rain comes, then what happens? H2O means fell on Earth in the form of rain. And filled, that is immunology also. Fill the, here what is fill? Because here small, shallow means we can say it fills into the depressions. Depressions means which is formed due to the constriction of Earth. Right? Fill the depressions and forms shallow oceans. At that time, temperature is very high. That means the temperature of this ocean of water is also very high, right? Because this ocean, it contains all these inorganic compounds. Now they interact with each other, right? That inorganic compounds, inorganic substances interact with each other and forms complex organic substances. First monomer of we can write here, right? Forms monomer of organic substances. Organic compounds. Monomer means what? Sugar, monosaccharides or amino acids, and that we can say amino acids, and nucleic acid means what? They forms nucleotides, right? With the help of phosphoric acid and other things, you know very well, phosphoric acid, pentose sugar, and the nitrogen base has formed, right? So first they forms monomer of organic substance, and then what happens? These, because they are present in the primitive ocean, right? So that primitive ocean is called as prebiotic soup, right? Okay, here first I write here monomers convert into polymers. They convert into polymers. Now a complex organic substances are formed. Now, hence, complex organic, or we can say polymers are formed in primitive ocean. What is in primitive ocean? In primitive ocean they are formed, and this primitive ocean, it is called that primitive ocean is called as probiotic soup. What is called? Probiotic soup or hot dilute soup, right? Soup. That is called chemogeny. Chemogeny means from atomic stage to the formation of complex organic compounds or polymers, right? Now second stage comes. Second stage means what? First is chemogeny, the second one is biogeny. Now second is, what happens in second stage? It is biogeny. Bio means living, formation of living, life, origin of life, or we can say evolution of life. This biogeny is further divided into 3 steps. 3 steps means what? First one is called as protobiont, formation of protobiont, right? Second step is called eobiont. Eobiont means non-cellular form, right? That is, it is also called as protocells. Eobiont also called as protocell. They are not actually cell, but we can say they are protocells. And third is formation of prokaryotes. Prokaryotic cell. Formation of prokaryotic cell, or first cellular forms is formed. 3 steps are there. So what happens in protobiont? Well, now in chemogeny, what we need, what we think, that complex organic substances are formed. In protobiont, these complex organic substances, which we can say they may be amino acid, right? They may be amino acids are there, right? Or polysaccharides, or proteins, right? They come and interact, right? because they forms interact, means they forms, that means they forms cluster of, cluster means group of these organic substance, organic substances. So cluster of, this cluster of organic substances is called protobiont. Protobiont, B-I-O, right? Protobiont. This one is called protobiont. They shows, okay, they have no enzymes, they have no activities, they have no metabolic activities, but they show some activities. Enzymatic activities are there. We cannot say they are metabolism, but they exhibits simple metabolism. Simple metabolism. Simple metabolism is why I write here simple metabolism, means large polymers they broken down to small, their monomers. This can be happens. Second, small means monomers they form the polymers. This is also happens. But this one is not a live process here. Only a chemical process is going on. So a simple metabolic activity is going on. That means they are called as protobionts. And these protobionts they are observed by, we can say, Stanley Miller. Stanley Miller means Stanley Miller's he get amino acids. Amino acids are means we can say amino acid they are the monomer of proteins. Amino acid is a chemical, right? But who get this protobiont? For when we consider the protobiont, we have two scientists, as I already tell you. One is Oparin. One is Oparin. Oparin he observed coiservates. Another one is Sidney Fox. Sidney Fox he observed microsphere, right? And this coiservates means lipid layer is absent, lipid coating is absent. But in case of microspheres means these are protein bodies which are covered by lipid coating, right? They are called as proteinoids. Proteinoid microsphere. Microsphere. S-P-H-E-R. Spherical structure, so they are called as microsphere. Sidney Fox and Oparin. They prove the formation of protobionts, right? Okay, after protobionts, second stage is on eobionts. Eobiont means here viroids are formed. First non-cellular forms. We can say non-cellular forms are formed. Non-cellular forms are formed means we know non-cellular first they are formed when they are formed means they are formed in 3 billion year ago, right? This one is 4 billion year ago, and this one is 2 billion year ago. And if we consider the one stage means that is eukaryotic cells, so they are 1.5 billion year ago they forms, right? Eobiont means what happens? Eobionts. Now these clusters which are formed, the clusters. Now what happens? Due to the mutation in RNA world is there. Eobiont means here RNA world. This hypothesis is going on. So due to the mutation in RNA, what happens? This RNA, today also we know RNA means we have 23 sRNA which has an enzymatic activity. Means all the life process at that time, life process, catabolism, anabolism, right, replication also, right, they are going around the RNA, and this proof the RNA world is what happens due to the mutation in RNA, ability of replication starts. Means first viroid like structures are formed, right? These structures which are acellular, which have no cells, right? They are called as eobiont or protocells, right? And it is means it proved the RNA world. Second, RNA world means what? The Altman. RNA world means who discovered this Altman. This is the scientist who says about the RNA world. Means Altman proved that RNA also acts as enzyme, ribozyme, and it is the 23S RNA. Okay. Now third is our prokaryotic cells. A cellular form of life is evolved. Then what happens? How a cell is formed? This time it is also not very clear, but that some scientists they thinks that after many years, because we know how in 1 billion years what happens, there is some complex structures are formed, and these complex structures they first form the prokaryotic cells. Means in prokaryotic cells they are formed in 2 billion years ago due to the complexity of structures. Also mutation is also responsible for here, and mutation first prokaryotic cell is formed. Prokaryotic cell is formed, and this cell it is chemoheterotroph. TROPS. First is chemoheterotrophs, right? Chemoheterotrophs. Now these chemoheterotroph at that time they only get food or energy, not food it is we can say, they get energy from chemicals which are present at that time in the ocean, right? Then what happens? They are converted into chemoautotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, right? The chemotrophs, then chemoautotrophs, and then what happens? Due to some modification in their chlorophyll that is, right, bacteriochlorophyll, they use these chemoautotrophs, they use H2S as a hydrogen donor, right? Now they what happens? They convert into photoautotrophs. Due to the modification or mutation in bacteriochlorophyll, right? Then they use what? H2O as hydrogen donor. When they use H2O as hydrogen donor, now oxygen revolution starts. Oxygen revolution happens because now what happens in photosynthesis? Oxygen is released through algae, blue-green algae, right? So that is the formation of prokaryotic cells, and after then what happens? If prokaryotic cells, then eukaryotic cells are formed. So this is the means we can say this is the history, or this is the story of conjectured story of formation of life or evolution of life on the earth, right? We understand here first chemogeny and then biogeny happens. Chemogeny means what happens in chemogeny? Simply chemogeny in very small term we can write here. First chemogeny, what happens? Chemogeny means what happens? Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, they are atomic stage. From atomic stage they convert into compounds, inorganic compounds, simple compounds, that is H2O, ammonia, right? Second one is our methane, they are formed, right? Hydrogen is also present here, simply hydrogen. And instead it is also when H2O, previous H2O means H2O, because ultraviolet rays are also there. Ultraviolet rays, when ultraviolet rays destroy this one, ultraviolet rays, now this hydrogen, it is converted into H plus, and then what happens? Due to the hydrogen ultraviolet rays, this H plus oxygen, H2 plus oxygen, they are converted. This oxygen, because it is very lighter, it escapes into the space. Now this oxygen is there. Oxygen binds with ammonia or oxygen binds with methane, and they once more form H2O, carbon dioxide, CO2 is formed, right? Hydrogen gas is also, because that some HCN is formed. So these different compounds are formed, right? Due to this one. Then what happens? Second step is they also forms monomers. of organic compounds. Organic compound. Monomers are formed. Then after polymers are formed. And they come into the prebiotic soup. Prebiotic soup. BIO, right? Biotic soup means what? Ocean. Primitive ocean. That is chemogen. Right? When they convert into polymers, because pre-ocean means this H2, when the earth temperature lowers down, rain with these carbon, these organic substances, rain comes and it fill the depression of the earth and form the ocean. That is chemogen. Biogeny means what happens? Biogeny, already I tell you. Biogeny. In biogeny, what happens? These polymers, now because they are present in the ocean, temperature is also high, ocean is there, means look, that time all the organisms, the first life come in the ocean, means in water, right? So biogeny means what happens? They form clusters of polymers, and these are called as, what is called as probionts. What is called? Pro means protobionts. Now protobionts, right? Due to the mutation RNA, in RNA, what happens? It replicates. Replication start. That means we can say first life, FIRST, right? First life characteristics obtained here. Replication, right? Mutation RNA. Then what happens? This one is called formation of, due to the mutation, what happens? Eobionts are formed. From eobionts means it is a cellular life, right? A cellular life. Then after what happens? Cellular life is formed. Cellular life means prokaryotic cells. Cells are formed, and from prokaryotic cells, eukaryotic cells are formed. Cell are formed, and from eukaryotic cell, then complex organisms are formed. Today, do you understand there how it forms? Here, look, biogeny. Chemogeny means what is the time of chemogeny? This time is 4 billion years ago. In biogeny, protobionts are formed. Protobionts means what? They are a cellular life form, right? What is protobionts means? What is the time of this one? This one, protobiyont up to the chemogeny, right? What is the time of this one? This time is non-cellular. Non-cellular means this a cellular, non-cellular life, right? Its time is 3 billion years ago. Cellular form of life, it took 2 billion years ago. Eukaryotic cells, it took 1.5 billion years ago. It arises 1.5 billion years ago. That is the time, and that is the process how a life comes from chemicals, chemical evolution, right? Okay. Now next point. We have no idea, that is, you understand, chemical evolution was more or less accepted, why it is accepted. Now we have no idea about how the first self-replicating metabolic capsules life arose. What is given here? First self-replicating metabolic capsule of life arose. Now you understand, because when we consider the first non-cellular life form, you know non-cellular means what? Here have originate with how first self-replicating metabolic capsule. Replicating means who replicate? RNA replicates. That means here we are talking about the eobionts, right? Capsules are capsules of life arose. That means they are virus. The first non-cellular form of life could have originated around 3 billion years back. life, first life means what? Life starts at 4 billion year back. At that time only chemogen is there, right? Here what happens? Here biogenesis starts. 3 billion year back means first a cellular or non-cellular, right? Self-replicating metabolic capsules are formed. We can say viruses are formed. They are RNA viruses, right? They are RNA virus or viroids, right? They would have been giant molecule that means made up of RNA, protein, polysaccharides extra, we can say extra. These capsules reproduce their molecules. Perhaps the first cellular form of life did not possibly originate how much? Till about 2000 million year ago. 2000 million year ago means what? 2 billion year ago, right? These were probably single cell. They are single cell prokaryotic cells. All life forms were in water environment only. Water environment means what? In prebiotic soup. They are called as prebiotic soup, right? Means ocean, primitive ocean. Primitive ocean, inside the primitive ocean. This version of biogenesis, that means the first form of life arose slowly through evolutionary forces from non-living molecules, is accepted by majority, right? However, once formed, how the first cellular form of life could have evolved into the complex biodiversity of today is fascinating story that will be discussed below. Means now we are going to discuss about the evolution of life forms as a theory, right? Here a figure is given. It is the Stanley-Miller's experiment. And in this figure you can see here that is a flask. This one is flask. In flask what happens? Electrodes are there. So how much here? What is the temperature of this flask? It is 800. Here boiling water is there, degree centigrade, right? This is the boiling water, right? Temperature is in this flask, it is 800 degrees centigrade. Boiling water means we know it is 100 degrees centigrade. Boiling means simply 100 degrees centigrade. Because boiling means then after if we increase the temperature is not increased, right? And boiling water. Now what happens? Water vapors. It contains water vapor, and we know water vapors are present in our ancient earth. This water vapor come to that side, right? That side and into this one. Spark discharge. That is what? That is lightning. Ancient means ancient earth. Lightning is also there because rain is there, so lightning is also there. Spark discharge. Gases are there. Which gases? Methane, ammonia, water and hydrogen. Already I tell you how ammonia is formed, how methane is formed, water, right? And I tell you the first inorganic means what is there? Ammonia and water molecule. And organic substance is methane. Then what happens? Through this one we can, outer is what we can, that is condenser, right? Water in, through this water in and this side water out. It is condensation means it cool down the temperature. One thing. Now water droplets are found here. Water droplets are there, right? Water containing organic compounds. Here the water is which is present. It contains organic compounds, right? And liquid water in organic compounds means what? Organic compounds, they may be amino acids. So when he get the amino acid, he understand that the biogenesis, chemical evolution, right? Evolution of life forms as a theory, right? Conventional religious literature. Conventional religious literature. Religious means, okay, in Hindu religion means what is here? Brahma makes all the living organisms. Humans means we have Manu and other, right, and his wife through humans evolved. Means here in all the religions, means they said that the creature which are today, they are already formed in their very first day also. In Jesus Christ means Christian, according to Bible, that means this, it is given here also, right? That means what happens? The God made all these things as it is today. There is no evolution. No evolution means no changing is occurring. That is given here. This theory, what is the theory of special creation? Now, this theory is theory of special creation. Theory of special creation. Theory of special creation. Who gives this theory? Who proposed this theory? The theory of special creation is proposed by Father Suarez. Who proposed? This is proposed by F-A-T-H-E-R, Father Suarez. Father Suarez proposed this theory. According to this theory, has three connotations. Three connotation means what? One, that all the living organisms, that is species or types that we see today, we are created as such. Very first, they are formed, means there is no changing in the creature. Second, that the diversity was always the same since creation and will be the same in the future. Also, means there is no variation. Third, that Earth is about 4,000 years old only 4,000 years old. But all these are, this time, these are wrong. Because we have many fossils which are not 4, but 4 million years ago, right? All these ideas were strongly challenged during the 19th century based on the observation made during the sea voyage in sail ship that is called HMS Beagle. HMS Beagle, it is a ship of whom? Charles Darwin. Round the earth, round the world, right? Charles Darwin concluded that existing living forms share similarities to varying degree not only among themselves but also with the life forms that existed million years of ago, means with the fossils, right? Second, many such life forms do not exist anymore. They are today, they are not present, they are present in the form of fossil only. There had been extinctions of different life forms in the years gone by, just as now as new forms of life arose at different period of history of the earth. Dinosaurs, they exist, and new forms of life. Reptiles are also present. Dinosaurs are also reptiles. They have the same characteristics as today reptiles, but their forms is different, right? Today means different reptiles are there. They are not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are exist, right? But they have similarities. That's the Darwin said. There has been gradual evolution of life, gradual, slow evolution of life. That Darwin said here, descent with modifications. What said Darwin? Darwin said, descent with modification for evolution. Right? Descent means new offspring. It comes always in variation or new modification, right? Any population has built-in variation in characteristics. Built variation means what? They forms variations in characteristics. Those characteristics which, now these characteristics, they may be good or bad in organisms. Those characteristics enable some to survive better in the natural condition, that is adaptation, right? Climate, food, physical factors, etc. would outbid others. Others means in which this adaptation is absent, right? Others that are less endured to survive under such natural conditions. Another word, use the fitness of the individuals or population. Fitness for Darwin here, what is the fitness? It is reproductive fitness, right? Here what is given? And Darwin said survival of the fittest. What said? It is called as survival of the fittest. fittest, right? Darwin said this. The fitness according to Darwin refers ultimately and only to the reproductive fitness. What is given? Reproductive fitness. This is the important. According to Darwin, fitness means what? It is reproductive fitness. Hence, those who are better fit in an environment leave more progeny than others. Reproductive fitness means who leave more progeny, they survive. Here we are talking about not individual, about the species. Means that species survive, right? These therefore will survive more and hence are selected by the nature. Who are reproductive fit, they are selected by nature according to Darwin. And he called it natural selection. And he also wrote a book which took origin of species by means of natural selection and implied it as a mechanism of evolution. Natural selection, he said them natural selection and he implied this one as evolution, right? Mechanism of evolution. Let us also remember that Alfred Wallace, another scientist, right? A naturalist. He is a naturalist who worked in Malay Archipelago. Alfred Wallace, naturalist who worked in Malay Archipelago, right? What in by Malay Archipelago? This Malay Archipelago, it is a group of island, which contains which one? Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, New Guinea, New GU, right? NEA, New Guinea. Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, New Guinea. This group of islands is called as Malay Archipelago. This Malay Archipelago, right? Malay Archipelago. One more important thing is also there. Malay Archipelago. It is the name of the book of Alfred Wallace. It is also the name of the book. Name of the book written by Alfred Wallace. Wallace. Name of the book of Alfred Wallace. Right? Conclusion around the same time is Darwin times. And he sent a Wallace chart to the Darwin. Now Darwin, what happens? With the help of this Wallace chart and his own observation, he wrote a book. That book is called Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Right? At the time Mendel is also there, but Mendel was, we can say, avoided by this scientist. Right? Understated by this scientist. In due course of time, apparently, new types of organisms are recognizable. All the existing life forms share similarities and share common ancestors, right? However, these ancestors were present at different periods in the history of the earth. History of the earth. History of the earth means, here this history of the earth after the formation of earth. Formation of what means? 4.5 billion years ago, earth is formed. And after then, it is divided into epochs. What is given? Epochs, that is the smallest period of life is time span. Then period, more than epochs, and era. That is era, right? We understand how many eras are there. This time 6. This time how many eras are there? We know this time 6 eras. Right? Which eras are there? We will discuss this about the eras next day, next lecture. Right? Eras means this time 6 eras. Simply you can say Azoic means it is a non-living. Right? Then after Archaeozoic, then after this one Proterozoic, then Paleozoic, then Mesozoic, and then Cenozoic. So 6 eras are there. Each era means they have 4 to 5 or 2 means more than one. They have what is there? Second is our periods. And each period they are further divided into epochs. Right? The geological history of Earth closely correlates with the biological history of Earth. Geological, that is Earth crust history, is closely related with the biological history. Means we understand the specific rock, they have a specific fossils, right? Sedimentary rocks. A common permissible conclusion is that Earth is very old, not thousands of years as was thought earlier, but it is the billion of year old. Billion of year old. How much year old? That is 4.5 billion year old. And this 4.5 billion year, it is further divided into 6 eras. These eras further divided into periods, and the periods they are further divided into epochs. Okay. So next time we will discuss about the evidences of evolution. Right. If you have any doubt in today's lecture, you can ask. Okay. It is only a history, and you have to read. Only NCERT is important for you for NEET examination. Right. Okay. Some concept we are going out of NCERT. These are also important to clear the concepts. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask simply. Thanks.